Welcome back. We continue to track tropical storm now, Nicholas. As you can see, the center of the storm just to the south and west of Galveston continues to move north, going up into the Houston area for this morning. Out ahead of it, that's where the rain is falling. Behind the storm, there's not much going on. There's a little bit of light rain, but especially south of the storm, there is nothing going on. Some drier air being filtered into it. But some of these bands we're going to be watching throughout the morning. Looks like some of this heaviest rain actually going to translate over into parts of Cameron Parish and maybe miss us altogether. But we still have maybe the northern end of this band going to be clipping us a little bit later on here this morning. Officially, as of 4 o'clock, it's down to a tropical storm. It was a hurricane for a little bit of time overnight. 70-mile-an-hour winds moving to the north-northeast at about 9 miles per hour. This is a hurricane watch that they had out for the coastline. Now it's more of a tropical storm warning for places like Jefferson County, Orange County, and Hardin County, where they're expecting to maybe see some winds gusting up to about 40 miles per hour. As we look at the track on this storm, 1 o'clock this afternoon, they have it pretty close to the Houston area with winds at 50 miles an hour, and then 1 a.m. on Wednesday, they have it right over us with winds down to about 35. That might be a little bit slow on the track. It might go a little bit faster than that, but that's what they're forecasting right now. And then once it gets over into parts of southwest Louisiana, they have it really slowing down as we go towards Wednesday into Thursday. Winds and the rain are on the east side of this storm, so once it does get over us, most of the rain should be pushing off towards the east, and we won't have to deal with it, I think, as we get into tomorrow and Thursday into Friday. So I think really today into tonight will be the most we have to deal with the rain, and then it should push off towards the east out ahead of the storm system itself. Here's radar right now, and generally we're seeing some moderate to light rain. There are a few little specks of yellow here and there indicating a little bit heavier rain, and then we're looking down to this big band of some heavy rain that's out in the Gulf of Mexico. Like I said, most of this should pinwheel up into parts of Cameron Parish. We're still going to catch some of this, it looks like, maybe pushing up through parts of Mid-County, maybe Beaumont area with some heavier rains there. Once again, the center of the storm is over there just towards the south and west of Friendswood. As far as rainfall so far, well, over the last 12 hours, less than an inch up in the lakes area. Generally around Beaumont to Mid-County, we've been picking up 1 to 2 inches of rain, so not a ton of rainfall out there so far this morning. You can see in the Gulf of Mexico around Galveston, south of Houston, that's where they've been seeing some of the heavier rain, 6-7 inches of rain. But for us, generally anywhere from a ½ inch to maybe 2.5 inches of rainfall. We still could pick up another 2 to 4 inches of rain for today, making our totals anywhere between, say, 3 and 7 inches as we go towards early tomorrow. And that's what we're forecasting, anywhere generally between 3 and 7 inches. Maybe a few isolated spots, get a little bit higher than that. But for the most part, I don't think we're going to be dealing with a ton of rainfall. We'll be watching these bands come in, and they could cause a quick area of some flash flooding. They're going to be very localized areas, not going to be a big regional area of flooding, we don't think. Just these localized areas of flash flooding with some of these bands, so we'll be watching for that. As far as winds are concerned, generally between 15 to 25 is what we're seeing right now. We did have one gust up around 41 and here in Beaumont with a band going through, and we have seen some winds gusting up over 30 miles an hour in Port Arthur, but right now generally between 15 and 25. Down towards the center of the storm, south of Houston there, that's where they're seeing the 40 to 30 mile an hour winds right now. We do have that tropical storm warning out. That goes for Hardin County, Orange, and Jefferson County. That goes throughout the day. As that storm starts to push towards us, we could see some wind gusts. Tropical storm force, which is up over 38. Right now, we just watching the rain move in from the Gulf of Mexico. There are a few bands here and there that'll pop up from time to time that produce some little bit heavier rainfall. And like I said, some of the heavier stuff down into the Gulf of Mexico, that's going to be working its way northward through this morning and through this afternoon. But as the center of the storm pushes right along I-10, it looks like by this evening, most of the heavy rain will be over into southwest Louisiana, and we'll continue to see that trend through the overnight into tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon, right now are showing on Futurecast that most of the rain will be out of here, and we just might have to deal with a couple of showers before we really start to dry out as we get into Thursday. So today's the day. We're going to be dealing with some of the heavier rain, and like I said, wind gusts haven't been too bad this morning. We might still see some wind gusts upwards of 40, maybe even 45 as the storm gets a little bit closer later on this afternoon into this evening.